Hey, everybody. This is Tim Gillette, and we're back with another episode of the Tim Gillette Show. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have got a guest for you that this is just like one of those interesting ones, right? I took a look at his domain name and I'm like, whoa, that's different. All right. So it's like of a shocker just right there. But I'm sure we're going to get some more shockers as we go through this whole thing. All right. Because there's just so many things that without knowing them, that him and his partner that like popped up that I've got to ask a ton of questions. We're going to have fun getting to know him. All right. His name's Dave. And Dave is like, got to be one of the coolest people on the planet because he's on my show, first of all. But we're going to find out all about him and this lemon and lime digital. All right. This just sounds too cool. Like, let's just find out, man. Dave, how are you, man?
Tim, how are you? Thanks for having me on, mate.
You bet. So first of all, Dave, before I go into everything, where are you calling in from? What part of the world?
Yeah, so we're in Adelaide, South Australia.
South Australia.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. All right. I'm getting these people from the other side of the world who are willing to get up. What time is it there?
It is currently 6:30 a.m.
A.m. Yeah. Okay.
So we're about 3 coffees in.
Yeah. David, you are my hero. Okay. You know Lauren. Do you know Lauren Clement, who was on my show? Yeah. Lauren was one of these people like, I'll lead the way. I'll get on out here. And everybody now says, well, if Lauren can do it, I can do it because I'm not going to let her show me up, right? So interesting that you're calling in from South Australia. So you're in the part of the world that I actually have a brother down in New Zealand.
All right.
That
not far.
Actually lives
about 4 hours flight.
I think he's he's closer to you than he is to me. That's where we're going to put it.
Yeah.
I know he's still a distance from you, but I've never been down there. And I thought it was weird that my brother left Dallas, Texas to go there. But anyway, yeah. Cool. So like, first of all, I mean, how did you find our show? I got to ask that. I mean, being South Australia, you found our show. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, obviously we work in digital marketing. So we work in social media and it actually popped up through like a suggested, there was like a suggested page type link. Wow. And I looked on it, checked out your page, thought it was pretty cool. So I thought, hey, look, I'll get in touch and let's have a chat and just see where it takes us.
I love it because it is. I get to meet people from around the world. All right. And think about it, like, I got a podcast, right? So I get to meet you. All right. Yeah. I'm kind of in the digital space as well. So it's like, you may have a total different way of doing it than I do. So we get to chat about it. And I'm probably going to learn from you today.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do.
Lessons and notes. But anyway, I do have to ask, though, where did you guys come up with this lemon and lime digital? All right. That's as bizarre to me as my rock and roll keys to business success.
So the name actually came, my wife started the business about 6 years ago. And at that time she was working for another organization handling their communications and media and stuff like that. So she started this as sort of a side hustle from the kitchen table, classic sort of story. And she started getting people approaching her, and she came to me and sort of said, I've got this name and I'm thinking about using it. What do you think? And she said lemon and lime. When she said lemon and lime, I was like, what's that about? Like, it's pretty cool, but why? And she said, really, Alex, who's my wife, partner, and most days boss, she loves to cook. And she said to me, I use lemon and lime juice to bring the flavor out in food. And she said, I bring the flavor out in people's businesses with their marketing and digital efforts. So let's use that. And I went, okay, awesome.
Well, here in America, you've got to have a lime with your Corona beer. You know that, right?
Yeah. In Australia, it's pretty well the same.
Oh, really? All right. Well, do you have other beers down there? Like you drink fruit into it? I'm curious.
No, not fruit. Definitely not fruit. You could get yourself in trouble doing that. But no, the beers down here, as long as it's cold and there's plenty of them, you're fine.
Okay, yeah. We were talking just before we went on and talking about another friend that I've met from down there, Lauren Clement, and Lauren actually sent me like some beers. She found it someplace online and sent it, but I didn't know who it came from. Like, because it's just like, because she heard that I was into beers, so she's like, I'll send him some beers and let's interesting.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, I've heard that though about Australia's and their beers. All right, they had like this code they go by. I heard so.
We do.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
Yeah, well, I'm here in America, and I live in Texas, but we have like in several different states we have winemaking. So we're like this anal about wine type places. All right, here in Texas now we're getting more and more Texans doing whiskeys and like
Yeah.
bourbons and stuff like that. So it's like the alcohol world has gotten its positions in places, shall we say? But anyway, well, let's get back to your business.
Cool.
What type of businesses then are you guys working with that you're doing it from the kitchen table, you said?
Yeah. So when Alex started the business, she was sort of working more with not-for-profits and certainly smaller businesses.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now I've come into the business about nearly 2 years ago now, and our primary focus really is local and small business. So we work, and when we say local, typically their customer base would be anywhere from sort of 5 to 10 miles away. So very sort of local to them. Small business obviously is sort of less than 50 employees, but sort of under sort of $10 million worth of revenue, and they can be anywhere, and it doesn't really matter because most of them have customer bases that are outside of their local area. So they're sort of the businesses that we work with across a range of different industries. We've worked with everyone from hair and nail salons to home improvement businesses through to skincare. There's been a range of different businesses we've worked with in that niche.
Now, you said you got into this just 2 years ago with her. What were you doing beforehand?
So I actually used to work in travel. This was pre-COVID. I actually worked in the travel industry for nearly 20 years. Worked for one of the best travel companies, in my opinion, in the world, who I dearly love. But I decided after nearly 20 years, my time was up, and Alex had grown the business beyond her capabilities of she needed some input. Strategically, I was working sort of in the more sort of senior management sector, helping with, strategic decisions and other things. So I thought, well, hey, look, I'll bring my skill set in. I'd worked in sales and had some input with marketing over the years too, and thought, well, hey, you know what? Like, let's see what we can do. And it's been great. It's actually amazing how transferable the skills were. And now my focus when I work with a business owner, we have team members that handle the actual, they push the buttons.
Okay.
We keep them in the basement and they just push the buttons. But my sort of jam is more the strategy and putting the plan of action together with the business owner and then having our team execute it. So it works great.
So, I mean, you guys got a small team. Are they self-employed people who work for you, or do you actually have employees?
We've got a mix. Yeah, we've got a mix. Like, it depends on the workflow, but most of the team members work for us, but they're all remote. So they're like, we've actually got one of our guys is actually in Grand Rapids, Michigan, for all your Michigan listeners.
I wouldn't brag about that being from Texas. I know you're going to tell him that now. He's going to be like, well, that's a Texas guy. What does he know?
Yeah. So it's a bit colder up his way than it is yours. Yep. So he's in Grand Rapids, and we've got some people spread across Australia. One of our we've actually got another team member here in Adelaide with us. But it's great. I mean, being sort of digital, we can work with anyone, anywhere. And most of our businesses, most of our customers, should I say, are in the US and the UK anyway. So for us, the early morning starts don't really matter too much.
But you coming then, like, you were into a corporate world. So you were working in an office that had 50, 100 people in it?
Yeah. So I'd sort of been with them for a long time. And when I started, I think we only had about 7 or 8 of us in a small little office here in Adelaide. By the time I left, there were 65 in Adelaide, and we had another 30, I think, in Sri Lanka. So it was really growing really, really well. And obviously COVID hit, and that's a different story. But I'd left by then. So yeah, it was a great place to work.
Yeah. And I mean, how was that transition for you going from, I got 15 buddies I can talk about football on the telly, to now it's the wife who's like, I just want to talk about cooking shows.
Yeah.
So the water cooler conversations are different now, I assume. Yeah.
It was actually, you know what? It wasn't so much the social side that really shocked me the most. I think the shock for me was the fact that once you leave that 9 to 5 grind that I'd been sort of institutionalized in for so long. You take your lunch at the same time every day. You have sort of that level of routine. All of a sudden, you don't have that anymore, and you've got to sort of build the structure around what you do. And I actually go out of my way now to speak to a lot of people. I have Zoom meetings all the time, obviously, but I actually go and see people that I actually used to work with there, catch up for coffee, talk to them regularly, talk to, I see my friends and everything a lot during the week, more than I used to. So it's actually, to be honest with you, I would struggle to go back to that environment. I've really sort of adapted quite well, and I really do enjoy it now, I must say. It was hard at first, I'm not going to lie, but it's been great since.
Now, are you someone who's like me? Like, I break my day up. Like, this afternoon section, I do like a podcast interview. I had, like, before this, I have a mastermind meeting I have, but like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I take a break till about, almost 9 p.m. And then I work from 9 p.m. till midnight. But I don't get up until 8 in the morning. So like that regular 9 to 5 really is not for me anymore, because my creative, my writing, my creating, like my books, my programs is all done between 9 p.m. and midnight my time.
Awesome.
So
no, that's great. I mean, I break it up as best I can. Try and go to the, sometimes I'll go to the gym at lunchtime. Generally speaking, if I've been to the gym in the morning, I go at 7. I don't usually hit my desk until sort of 9:30. But my day could be varied because we have clients all over. Like last night, I was on a phone call with the UK at 8:30 in the evening. And that's just the way, because of the time difference. That's just the way it works. So I don't work those traditional 9 to 5s. And to be honest with you, it's been refreshing, to say the least.
It's a different lifestyle. Like I said, I could never go back to it. Like having someone tell me, well, this is the time you go to the bathroom and this is the time you go to lunch. I couldn't do that. All right. And like, it's just because I'm like in control of my world. And for me, that's what entrepreneurialism was. I wanted control of my world. All right. It had nothing to do with trying to be a millionaire. For a Ferrari and a Lamborghini is never going to impress me. All right. But the fact is that when I walk out the door, no one can take the house from me. I'm happy with that.
100%. That's the true flex right there, right? Like everyone, like in Facebook land, you see it all the time. People, showing off the bling and all the other sort of rubbish that goes along with that. And the reality is, there's people generally are either maxed out, trying to pay for all that stuff. So they've got to keep the lifestyle going. But the true flex are the ones that, if I don't work today, does it matter? No, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. It's just, you want to enjoy your life. You're here once, enjoy it, and the beauty of it is, like yourself, I mean, you work for yourself, you can set your own schedule, work from where you want to work. Mate, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. Well, with that freedom, I'm curious if you've ever had this. Now, I've had it, and I'm curious if you guys have ever had it. I now have the freedom because I don't need to have so many clients in order to cover my bills, right? Have you had clients that you just went to and, you just sat there with the partner or wife and go, we just don't want to work with them. They're going to be a problem down the road. Let's turn that contract down. Yeah.
You know what? That has been the most exhilarating, empowering experience ever, because we've made a conscious decision, and I'm sorry to say it, but we actually have a rule that's written on the wall in one of our offices here, and it actually says no dickhead rule. That's it.
I love it, man.
We don't work with idiots. We want to work with good people that we get along with. The creative process works a lot better when you get on. You have to get on because it's a team effort. Even though you might outsource your marketing to us, we have to get along with you, because if we don't like you, we're not going to be able to do the best job possible. So human relationships is so important. And to answer your question, hey, look, we've had some clients that I've turned down and really enjoyed it. So it's been great. Good on you for doing the same.
Well, I've been doing this, almost 12 years now, and 12 years of doing it, I've actually had people in my programs that when, I basically had to go to them and say, listen, here's your money back. I'm not your guy. I'm sorry. Let me help you find the right guy, but I'm not him. Right.
Yeah.
And there is a freedom about that, but there's also a freedom in knowing I'm probably doing them a favor. Because all it's going to do is frustrate me and them. And it's probably the same thing with you. You don't want to frustrate them and frustrate you, because then nothing gets done.
Nah. and you don't want to lose sleep. Life's too short for that. You don't want to be losing sleep and stressing about that. You want to work with good people, that you get along with, that you actually look forward to speaking to. And, that makes that process so much easier for us.
Yeah. So what are some type customers you guys or clients you guys have had over the past couple of years?
You know what? We've got a customer of ours at the moment, and it was one. I remember the lead coming through for us, and my first reaction to it was, we're not going to be. What are we going to do with this? Like, we're not going to be able to do this. What is this? And it was a guy. He's here in Australia. He's an artist. He actually draws people's pets, like pet portraits. That's what he does in pencil and paint and everything else. And when it came through, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to help this guy. Like, how are we going to scale him up? There's only one of him. How are we going to do that? And then I started speaking to him, and it turns out he was self-taught, never been to art school, but it was like a rainy day in Victoria here in Australia. Took out a pen, drew a picture of his dog. His wife just looked at it and went, wow, like what the actual? Started doing more, put him on Facebook. People at his workplace were sort of saying, hey man, that's like amazing. Like, would you draw my dog? And he's like, yeah, cool, whatever. Started from there. And then, so when he sort of came to us, they were sort of doing the local market scene and, spending 8 hours at a market stall waiting for, people to sort of walk by and hope to buy a picture. And like, we basically e-commed his business. So we've created him an e-com website. He's put all his pricing up. He's getting orders through his website now consistently. Like, it's just been an awesome story, and the nicest people. Like, they're not, honestly, we consider them more friends than we do clients. They are the nicest people to work with. And that's probably been, it sort of showed me that you can, there are a lot of agencies out there I know wouldn't touch a business like that because it was so, pre-revenue, or the revenue was really low. But the business owners are willing to work and adapt to suggestions that we've given them, and it's really helped him. He's quit his job. Like, he was in insurance. He quit his job and he's doing this full time now. So it's like, it's been awesome. Those sorts of stories are what get me up in the morning. I love that stuff.
Well, yeah, he was insurance. So like, that was a dream for him to quit that job, dude.
Yeah. Let's say, I think his mental health was suffering at the end there with that. He wasn't sad to see it go. I can tell you, but amazing people and really talented.
So yeah, I'm about to start another podcast here in another 2 weeks with a young lady. She's in insurance and financial services, and she can't do a podcast on that. So she's looking for something else to do, a podcast or something around to get her name out. So her and I love alcohol. So we're doing an alcohol tasting and food pairing podcast.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So, and like and who's the sponsor? Because she has to go through one time to get the sponsorship of her company and stuff to sponsor the podcast. They record it every week. We play the the advertisement, and that is like, the way around that in insurance. But anyway, you brought up insurance, and I'm like, man, I took my insurance tests one time, and I don't think I ever sold an insurance policy. I was like, I don't want to do
it's a little dry.
Out of here.
It's a little dry.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so you've worked in the travel industry. You're working now in digital marketing. Have you worked in any other industries over the years?
No, I actually haven't. Funnily, I mean, I've studied. I've got the MBA and all that sort of stuff and all that sort of thing. But I really did love the travel industry. It was great. It was just, I was at a time in my life where I'd spent so much time in it that I thought, you know what, I'm going to try something else. And when Alex had sort of expressed to me what the business was, I don't sort of consider myself a digital marketer. We're a digital marketing agency, and we have staff and team members that do that stuff. I consider myself as sort of a consultant or basically someone that's another ear for a smaller local business owner to run strategic, interference to help them grow their business. So for me, I'm sort of, while yes, we work in digital marketing, I actually work across a range of different industries now, because one day I'm talking to a home improvement company around how we can improve sales in XYZ area. And the next day I'm talking to a hair salon owner about how we can sell more perms. So it's like, there's a range of different sort of industries we're working on. And even yesterday, we had a meeting with a home improvement company here in Adelaide. And we're going to be going in and having a meeting with their staff to sort of get their ideas on what they want their new website to look like and feel like, and how they want their customers to interact. So for us, you know, we're working across a range of different industries. We're getting a sort of a taste test of all these little, you know, sort of beautiful industries without having to commit to ourselves full time to it, which is amazing.
Now, the fact that you're going through so many different industries, and then you're talking with so many people, you talk about relationships earlier. You know what I mean? I really got to connect with these people, and because we're going to be working together. Have you done any of those weird type, shall we say, weird type business meetings to get people to know you? Like, you know, hey, we're having a Halloween party. Come dressed as your favorite digital marketer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like, it's interesting because most of our clients are online, obviously. You know, a lot of the meetings that we do take are Zoom. So you never know sort of who you're going to get on the line, you know, and what that's going to look like. In terms of introductory sort of stuff, I have done some face-to-face, you know, sort of networking and some different things. And quite often, I mean, particularly here in Adelaide, the reaction is always like, Lemon and Lime Digital, like, never heard of you. Who are you? You know, why aren't you one of those big agencies? And it's sort of, it always makes me laugh because, you know, there are so many, you know, sort of small companies now that work digitally that are able to have a really strong client base that aren't even in the same country as them, you know, and it's, there's all these people sort of working away, you know, so we meet, you know, just like yourself, met you through a link I saw on Facebook. So, you know, here we are.
Well, and there I'm curious now. All right. Since the pandemic, all right, started, in 2020. Now, I traded my truck in February of 21 after 5 years and only had 40,000 miles onto it. I don't know how many kilometers that is to you guys, but I actually went and got a new one. And I'm like, I'm just going to get a lease because, like, I don't drive anymore. Like, I've had my new car since February. I think I finally covered 4,000 miles on. I'm like,
be time for the first service now.
Like this, you don't drive to work anymore. You don't need that, right?
No, it's been, I must say, we're saving on mileage, we're saving on gas. You know, that's it's certainly been, I think there's been some things that have become far more inexpensive as a result of working from home. That's for sure. You know, I think the car is definitely one area. But strangely, my grocery bill seems to go up every week. You know, you know how it is.
So, well, for us, my wife does not work from the house, right? She works, her office is 2 miles down the street, but she also travels. So she comes home, or she's traveling, and she comes home and she wants to make food at home. She comes home and I'm like, I want to go out to eat. Like, you know, that's the battle between us because I'm here all day long. I want to go out. She's out all day long and she wants to go home.
No, for us, because we both work from home, we actually have an office that is off-site as well, but we primarily work from home. What we've actually found has been quite good because we do like to go for a coffee. So what we tend to do is usually about 10:30 in the morning. Usually I've only worked for about an hour at that stage. We'll down tools and hit the coffee shop. And we just try and make sure that we don't speak about work during that time. We talk about anything else but work. You know, but I must say, one of my biggest concerns coming into the business was obviously, how am I going to work with my wife? You know, like, we get along great, but like, wow, like, that's really close. And I must say, you know, it's been awesome. Like, really, really, we've been able to sort of, you know, separate, you know, work from everything else. And it's so far so good. So touch wood on that. We'll keep that going.
So yeah, my wife worked for another company that was the leader in their industry. And she left that company to start a competing company with another guy. Ooh. And she's not the owner. She's a COO, and the other guy is the financier behind it. And, you know, helped her build a team to build this company. And in the middle of the pandemic, we're sitting down with this guy who she knew, right? And like, we're sitting over at his conference room in his place going, you know what I mean? How's this going to work with you coming down another company? And my wife's like all excited because she wanted to go back to what she did create in the beginning stages of her company. All right. And that's it. She got all excited with it. But in the beginning, it was cool because she was here all the time because, you know, the office 2 miles down the street. Well, now she's in the process of opening stores. She left this morning on a flight to fly to West Texas. And I'm having coffee with my mom this morning. And my mom goes, "So did your wife leave today?" I said, "I think. I don't know." So my mom
You have to get like a
texts my
tracking
wife and
device, like in a
says,
suitcase or something.
yeah. My mom texts my wife and says, "Are you leaving?" She goes, "Yes." She texts my mom back, "Yes, I'm in line to get on my flight now." Remind Tim he's got to cook those lamb chops or they're gonna go bad. Yeah, man, it's like um, my mom and I have that like, my wife, because she's had in the beginning we could go to coffee. I just had to get up earlier and we go to coffee in the morning, but now her company has got her so busy in a busy phase until she's got to build the next phase of her team once
Yeah.
she gets a couple more stores open, and then she'll be able to be freed up some more. But she's having to do a multiple of work. She leaves at 6 a.m., doesn't get home till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
big
long day. I get up and to me it's 8 o'clock. I want to go get coffee before I even walk up the stairs to my office. I want
Yeah.
coffee out of the house. All right. And that was the thing with my wife. She was making coffee in the house. I don't want it in the house. I
No.
want certain thing that I can't get in my house. I have to go someplace else.
Yeah.
Just like you said, not talk about work. I sit
Yep.
at that Starbucks in the morning. It's not about work. That's how I start my day.
Yeah.
And
And
I get that.
it's important, take a minute and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You got to do that. You got to take a break between it. So, as someone that I've worked with recently was telling me that she had this theory, which I really subscribe to, around work-life balance and business. Particularly for people that are sort of entrepreneurs or self-employed, because burnout's is a real thing. For small and local business owners, because typically they're wearing every hat, they're doing it all themselves, and they're flogging themselves to death. And she used this analogy, which I really subscribe to, and it made a lot of sense to me. And she said to me that basically running a business, similar to your life, is like a piece of music. If you played every note all at the same time, it wouldn't make any sense. It would just sound like a jumbled mess. But the best music is when you have dramatic pauses. And if you can keep those dramatic pauses in your life, so you can make sure that you take the minute to actually let the notes resonate, everything will sound a hell of a lot better. And once she said it, I went, wow, like,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. My coach has tried to get me to do it. He does every hour he does 45 minutes work, 15-minute break, 45 minutes work, 15 every hour.
Yeah.
So like he'll walk out of his office, him and his wife do it. And like they go out like to their backyard, they've got grass put in. So like they'll walk in the backyard just to get away from the office for 15 minutes.
Yep.
I can't do that. I go for hours stuck on something. And then I'm finally like, okay, I'm frustrated. And I walk out. That's how I do it.
Yeah, my wife's the same. My wife will work the same way as you. She could literally just sit down and just crush it all day. I'm like, oh, look, a cat, and walk. Literally, I'm out of it. So it's we're different like that, but it works.
Yeah. But I mean, that being like that way though, her being that way, you kind of need something to cut loose every now and then.
Yeah.
For me, my wife, I was telling you, my wife's gone on a trip. When she's gone on a trip, my day does not separate.
Yeah.
I come up and all of a sudden it'll be like dark outside. I'm like, wow, man, I'm hungry. I need to go make dinner. Right. And I'll look up and it's 9:30 at night,
Yeah.
I started to set my lights in my office to a timer. At 9 p.m. the lights go off. And that's kind of a hint to go, okay, it's time to shut down your day. Because if my wife's not here, I don't know, okay, it's time to go downstairs. Because when she gets home, it's like, okay, day's over,
You're like a gremlin.
I know.
Don't feed you after midnight and stuff.
So yeah,
but it just won't get done.
But wait a minute. Again, that's part of the freedom of entrepreneurialism. All right.
Yeah,
I
man.
built my life doing the things I love.
Yeah.
And I love tackling things. Like I have a client that's just like, I had to totally reinvent her business because it wasn't working. And when she came on as a client, I got all happy. And like for the amount of money I'm charging her is like this compared to all the work I'm doing. I'm just like, why do you do that? Because this is what I love to do. That's how much money I need to do it. That's all I care.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It's like, man, I'd be charging thousands. I'm like, if I charge her hundreds of thousands of dollars, she couldn't afford it.
Yeah. Yep. And that's it. You got to do what you enjoy to do. And it's not always about the coin. If you do a great job and you look after people, the money will come. That's just, the money's the result, basically. It's the way to keep score.
Yeah, it is. So, and to me, it's my first thing was always, and every business I've ever done is cover the expenses.
Yep.
So yeah. A couple years ago, Dave, We bought this condo. My wife and I, we were living in another condo in the complex, and we bought this one. And we had to get a mortgage because the first time we didn't have cash to pay for it, right?
Yep.
So I'm at the bank getting a mortgage, and I'm like, I'm 52 years old at the time. And the lady goes, "You're getting your first house at 52. That's great." I'm like, "No, I'm getting my first mortgage." She goes, "How do you buy a house without a mortgage?" And I said, "I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. After going through 2 wives, I learned a lesson. First thing you do when you have a good year is pay for the roof over your head or the wife leaves." Tell your wife that one. Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I might just play her this snippet of this podcast.
How important that is, all right, to a wife. You've got to have a roof over the head as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because again, I'd be working out of the corner of my car and wouldn't care, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing what I love to do. I didn't care. And I remember when I met my current wife, we started a real estate company, and I had like 5 or 6 homes that I was renting out. I'm renting a room in somebody's house. It's not about the money. It's just like I got the systems. I love creating the systems anyway. So
yeah.
I told you you'd have some fun today, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I noticed though, and one of the things I was going to say to you about your website, that I looked at it and I went, man, it sounds like a can of Sprite or a really zestful type business. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I noticed you used the word zest one place.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's what it's all about. When Alex actually started the business, she used to have these business cards, and it would actually say her job title was Chief Zester. Was what I made her change it. I was like, you got to change that. I said, people just don't get it. Yeah. So, but she, it's all about bringing that zest, just bringing that extra flavor, mate.
I thought it was cool. All right. You know what I mean? It's like, and I do, when I do these interviews, I kind of glance over your website. I don't want to get too many details because I want to ask you the questions and find out about you, not just your business, so people can actually come in and learn about it. That's what I love doing and pulling that information out. So I do got to ask though, I mean, are you, with it being a zestful business, are you guys doing anything like really unique or popping right now that maybe you want to share with my audience?
Yeah, we've got, well, look, I mean, in terms of the creative and everything that we're doing, obviously we want to make sure that we stop the scroll wherever we can for people when they are running digital ads. I mean, that's really, really important. So we've been sort of using a bit of 3D animation recently, for some ads that have been going out there, and it's been working really, really well. In terms of, well, I guess what you could say popping, really, I mean, as I said before, we're sort of all about helping, sort of local and small business owners. And we know some of them don't have a great website or a website at all. And that's been a real challenge for a lot of people because that can cost you thousands, in terms of getting a decent website. And when we say decent, something that actually functions beyond just like, something that you could effectively just replicate from a napkin. You need to make sure that it actually works properly. So what we've decided to do is actually sort of say, look, anyone that, if 5 listeners come through this show and they say, hey, Dave, look, I've got this local business, a small business, we need some help, whatever, we will build them. We'll build them a website for free if they work with us for 6 months. All right. So if they work with us for 6 months, we'll build them a website for free. That website's going to make sure that it's just going to have what they need on it. For a lot of local businesses, it doesn't need to be a ridiculous e-com website. It's just a very, very simple, fully functioning. We'll build it for free. They just have to work with us for 6 months. So then you guys got a 6-month contract right away, ready to go with them, right? Yeah. Yep. Cool. That's it. They just hit us up through the website. If they mention the Tim Gillette show, I'll know exactly who they are.
Cool.
And that way Tim can get his carton of beer.
Tim's got a way of getting hold of his beer. Don't worry about me, Dave.
Yeah. But no, that's what we do.
For business, I can afford a couple beers every now and then.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this show and you're a local business owner and you go, hey, you know what? I think our website's crap, or we don't have a website and we want to get our name out there, just hit us up through the website. Let's have a chat and we'll see what we can do.
Well, I mean, well, that's an interesting concept. Like I work with my clients. I make my clients sign a 1-year contract period coming on with me because I
Yep.
work, online marketing, and it's no matter what your business is, I can turn it around in 90 days, but it's not going to be profitable for a year.
No,
That's
no.
and I hit them with that all the time. You can't come in and try 1 to 2 things and go, okay, I'm good later. No,
Yeah,
it
no.
doesn't work that way. It takes a year
No.
to totally transform a business using online tools.
Yeah,
And
and exactly, and the tracking tools now are stupid. Like I think what's happened is I think if you look at traditional forms of marketing, medium, whether that's television, radio, newspapers, generally speaking, you would have to put the money up. Well, you still have to put the money up front. You create the ad goes out to a circulation of X. And then you wait for the phone to ring and, you hope it works or, whatever. But you don't place one ad. You have to run a series of ads over a series of weeks in the newspaper or on the TV or whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
With digital, I think, the industry had been spoiled for so long in terms of, hey, we can get up to the minute data and we can get it, we can show you how many clicks and we can show you this and that and everything else. And obviously, Apple's just gone around and turned around and gone, hey, you know what? We got this thing, iOS 14. Let's stop that happening. Let's protect people's data and all the rest of it. So the game, while the tracking hasn't changed, we've sort of changed our business model to stop being focused so much on the granular data from each digital channel we work on. And we look now really at the marketing efficiency ratio, which is basically in a 3-month period, if you spent this much money, how much revenue did you generate, and what's the ratio on that? And that we start using that as the indicator for success. Yeah. But it doesn't work. You nailed it. It doesn't work overnight.
Nope.
Marketing takes time.
Yeah, and I've had in about a half dozen people come through. In the 10 years I've been doing this, who like within 3 months, I can't afford to keep going. I'm like, you do realize when I'm going to let you out of your contract, but I'm going to tell you right now, number one, you can never come back to me. I will not help you again. And number two is when you go to start with someone else, you're going to pay 3 times as much to start over again.
Yeah, we always say to people, our minimum is 3 months that we'll work, but we actually have a process in place. We've implemented it because what we were finding, we were picking up a lot of customers who'd worked with other digital agencies before. They'd been basically just burnt. Hey, we'll run your Facebook ads for you, and there's like just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping it sticks. Yeah. So what we started to do was go, hey, you know what? You don't need Facebook ads right now. What you need is you actually need a strategy that aligns with your business plan. So what's your business plan look like? Tell us about that. And we spend 3 to 4 weeks before we even start marketing, really sort of honing in on that business and digging in as if we sat in the office with them to understand their business. And we've found since we've started that process, the churn rate has dropped. We've reduced the churn rate and we've actually, been getting better results because we understand the business even better. Yeah.
That's good, man. Well, that's it. We learn from the things that we're doing wrong. That's exactly, we learn how to improve it and make it better. And I love that.
Yeah, 100%.
And I've loved, all the things I've learned over the years to make the process simpler and faster and get people results quicker. But I still like to tell people, let's make a commitment on this because it's much easier to come at the end of 1 year and go, okay, how much has your life changed in 1 year? Your business changed in 1 year. As opposed to, well, this month I got an extra $20 in sales versus last month.
Yeah. So that's right, and that's exactly right. We don't want a situation where we don't bring value to people's lives. And it's not. We're not just talking about dollars either. It's the freedom to spend time with their kids. Yeah. It could be anything that they want out of that situation. For a lot of local business owners, they are so busy wearing every hat, as I mentioned before, that quite often their family life suffers or their social life or whatever that looks like for them. And if we're able to sort of alleviate that through helping them grow the business, but not just run their ads and their marketing and say see you later, but to be able to actually talk to them and say, hey, look, we've just 3 times the orders have happened this week alone. If this trend continues, you're going to need to get some staff. And what does that look like for your business? And, there's a range of different things that we need to talk about with them. So, that's got to be part of the process for it to work. Cool.
Well, I've enjoyed having you on the show, but before we go, all right, number one, I got to get people to find you. What's the website that they can come and find you at?
Yep, very, very simple and very memorable. It's just lemonandlimedigital.com. So
lemonandlimedigital.com.
Yeah, lemonandlimedigital.com.
I love it. It's almost like a Sprite, can of Sprite.
Yeah. Very zesty.
Very zesty. Dave, before you go, I like to play a game with all of my guests. All right. And what I do is refine the game a little bit. I have 7 envelopes in front of me. You get to pick 3 of them. And inside each envelope, I'm going to pull 3 questions out to ask you. So you go ahead and pick the numbers first.
Easy. 1, 3, and 7, my friend.
1. Oh, 7. That's 7. 3. 7. Those go to the side. And I have like 9 or 10 of these, and I stuff in the envelopes. I don't know what one went in each envelope. So
this will be interesting.
It is fun. I love doing this, man. So envelope number 1. Oh, I love it. The number 1 question we get to ask you is boxers or briefs?
Briefs.
Briefs.
I need that support, man. I need some support in my life.
I see. This one here is kind of an American brand of drink, but let's see if you got it over there. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke, but Coke no sugar. Well, it used to be Coke Zero, but they've changed the name, right? So
yeah, they did. But I like the real the real sugar Coke. Over here we call it Mexican Coke because it's manufactured in Mexico and brought up. So
yeah, but definitely Coke for sure.
Yeah. The third one here is if you're going out on a trip, would you rather go hotel or camping?
Hotel. Yeah. Every time. Yeah. Camping's fun, but hotel for me.
Cool. Yeah. All right. That's I always tell my wife my idea of camping is a 4-star hotel.
That's just glamping, man. That's just glamping.
Envelope number 3, question number 1 on there is, in your car, do you listen to podcasts or music?
I'm a mix. I actually listen to both in the car, but if I'm on a longer trip, a podcast for sure.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite podcast you're listening to right now?
Well, apart from the Tim Gillette show, I actually listen to I actually listen to there's some sport podcasts I listen to, like the Jamie Carragher show in the UK, and there's a range of different sort of shows which just really talk about sport and what's happening in there, or they interview past players and stuff like that. It's actually been really, really great.
Yeah. I've been listening to Mike Rowe has the guy who did Dirty Jobs on TV. He's got a podcast called The Way I Heard It. And I love it, man. That was the one podcast I fell in love with. It kind of his early version of it reminded me of the old Paul Harvey stories that I love that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
Question number 2. I love it when you get a girl's question. Maybe this is what you like to see your wife in, and maybe this is what you wear. I don't know, but high heels or boots?
Well, the problem is, right, like I'm a size 12, so I always struggle to get the heels. It's really hard to find heels that fit me. Pisses me off. Boots are fine. Like I can find boots in a 12, but I can't find heels in a 12. So I'm going to have to go boots just because they're the only ones I can find.
See, I told you it's going to be a fun podcast, huh? All right. Question number 3. When you go to the movies, do you like to get popcorn or candy?
I'm a candy guy.
What kind of candy?
Anything chocolate is good for me. Like it's not good for me, but it's good for me.
I like Raisinets and the Twizzlers. That's mine. Raisinets.
Oh yeah. When I'm in the US, we don't get them here in Australia, but when I'm in the US, Twizzlers are my go-to for road trips. Yeah. They live in the console of the car, big bag.
Because they don't melt.
No.
Here
straight
in Texas,
down the water, and they don't go off.
That's important here in Texas, yeah.
You can leave that bag open. I've left the bag open for 5 weeks. They're still as fresh as they were the day I bought them.
Still good, man. So last one, envelope number 7. 3 interesting questions here. Watching movies, would you rather do it at home or at the movie theater?
Movie theater.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
See, I like certain ones at home, but certain ones I can't wait to see in a theater. Here in America, I'm still waiting for the new Top Gun. I I don't care what it costs for that ticket. I am buying it. Probably going to buy it 3 nights in a row. Yeah. Look at that one. So this is more American foods, but it probably relates to you down there. Is would you rather have a hamburger or a taco?
Hamburger, for sure. Any day of the week. I do like tacos, but I'm a hamburger guy.
Yeah, I love hamburgers. That's my favorite food. Yeah. And the last one here, in American basketball. Who is the better basketball player, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Okay, interesting question. I'm going to go with Jordan purely because I grew up on him.
I know.
So, LeBron is a great player, but for me, I don't think you'll ever get past MJ. I just think that guy was just a freak of nature. And LeBron is amazing, but for me, MJ, definitely.
So I have one of the other ones, which is in one of the other envelopes. I asked the football, NFL football, who's the greatest quarterback, and I think I have Joe Montana or Tom Brady. You got to realize Joe Montana was a great. Just what he did was a great, but Tom Brady has beat. You got to admit, Tom Brady's beat everybody's records. Everybody.
Yeah.
I like. You know what I mean? So it's a reverse, right?
And he doesn't look like he's slowing down.
He doesn't. He doesn't. Yeah.
Where is he now? Tampa Bay, and I think he's just he's
I'm
not
still
slowing
willing
down.
to bet he wins another Super Bowl before he retires.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I really would, just for him. I think it would be amazing.
Yeah,
great way to end his career.
Yeah, it is. So before you go, there's one question I've started to add in. All right, and that is it is a very interesting question, a very heartfelt question. Dave, I hope this doesn't happen, but God forbid it did. Something happens to you and you pass away, but somebody finds this podcast 3-4 weeks after you're gone.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them?
What advice would I give to them if they found me?
Yeah. Because they're searching right now because you've passed, and they're looking for any more words from you. What would you say to them? Think about that.
I would say, when the opportunity presents itself, take it. Sometimes we spend so much time thinking, should we, shouldn't we, whatever, and the opportunity's passed. And, I think in life, things happen for a reason. Sometimes we're not always happy with those things that happen for a reason, but the universe has a way, I don't know how, of making it work. And, for anyone out there that runs a small or local business, particularly if they found this podcast and listened to this, I would say to them, it doesn't matter if you lose a client today or a customer today, tomorrow you will get another. They will find you. You've just got to keep going. That's all you can do. So that would be my advice, mate. And the second thing I would buy, I always say it, whatever the price of Bitcoin is today, buy it, because trust me, it's only going up.
It's only going up. Yeah. I buy $10 every week.
Yeah.
I
started doing that 10 years ago.
Oh, I wished I would have done it 10 years ago. I'm telling you that now. But anyway,
you and I would be doing this podcast in a suite in Vegas.
Yeah. We would be tipping back some beers together someplace on an island.
Yeah. All right, cool, man.
Well, hey, Dave, I appreciate you coming on the show today, taking time out of your schedule to share with my audience. I really, heartfelt. I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much for having me, Tim. It's been a pleasure.
Cool. Hey, to you guys, the listeners, man, we want to thank you for tuning in. Go over to lemonandlimedigital.com. Check this guy, Dave, out, man. I'm telling you, he's an awesome character to get to know. And you can probably learn something like I did today. In the meantime, guys, stay tuned, and we'll have another guest real soon. I'm Tim Gillette with The Tim Gillette Show. Have a great day, guys.